Hi, Yanbo. My name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting these essays for you. Let's take a look at what you wrote. The first one is about schools being more entertaining. Education reform has been a continual, contentious issue with various trends over decades. While it is ambiguous to what extent schools should include more enjoyable activities, I strongly oppose that their only aim is to impart knowledge. This essay will review both sides and use examples from psychological research and a prominent university report to illustrate. Okay, I like this. I thought the language was lovely. Things like words like ambiguous, I strongly oppose, impart knowledge, all of this is really nice. Let's talk about what I'm a little concerned about. The essay says, which do you agree with? And your answer was, I strongly oppose this, which means that you think that they should include more activities. So I'm confused, since you strongly oppose this, why you've decided to talk about it. Does that make sense? They only asked you which you agree with. So I'm not entirely sure. You should tell us that it's going to review both sides. I'm open to look at it. I'm open to see what you said, because if you completely destroy the idea of only imparting knowledge, then it makes sense. Okay. But let's just say that for me as an examiner, it would raise a red flag that maybe you're talking about something you're not really supposed to be talking about here. But let's see how you did it. Firstly, educational institutions' primary purposes are cultivating students' personalities and training their skills to get a job. By doing so, human society can keep not healthy operating. Let's see. By doing so, human society can keep operating well. Okay? I know it's probably not the expression you want to use, but it's better than healthy. If schools only focus on rote learning, all education, and no play makes Jack a dull boy, which means pupils may not know how to relieve stress appropriately when under pressure, deteriorating the community. All right, let's talk about this. Deteriorating the community is awkward. You wouldn't say that something deteriorates a community. It's the wrong word here. And then this expression, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, I didn't really feel it was appropriate here. It's a saying, but I'm not entirely convinced that it makes sense here. Okay? Let's see. For instance, an experimental psychological survey from WHO shows that when canceling all extracurricular activities for a semester, more than 70% of sampled students have increased negative emotions such as depression, anger, and violence. Therefore, entertaining elements are necessary for academics. Okay, let me see. What I want to look at is two things. I want to look at your coherence and cohesion, and I want to look at your task achievement. So let me just read it through one more time. All right, I've now read it an additional 2 or 3 times. It's okay. But how can I say this? Let me show you what I mean. Their educational institutions' primary purposes are cultivating students' personalities and training their skills to get a job. So, what are you telling us? Like, I don't understand reading this, what this paragraph is going to be about. What helps that happen? Entertainment in school or academic learning? So, your topic sentence here wasn't particularly clear. And neither was the second sentence, which supports the first one. So you've got these two sentences here, and I was like, okay, so what's the idea? What's the central idea here? Is it in favor of academic learning, or is it in favor of entertainment? So it wasn't clear. And then you shifted to this, which then tells us that this pure education model doesn't work. So it was all a little confusing to me, which is why I had to read it 2 or 3 times. What I would advise you to do is to have a very clear topic sentence where the central idea and the central argument that you're creating is clear. So, for example, You could say something like, to cultivate students' personalities and develop their skills, entertaining elements must be included in the classroom. Okay? That would have made more sense. Let's keep going. Secondly, wait, what am I doing here? Give me a second. Where am I? There we go. Secondly, including delightful subjects like physical education, not delightful is the wrong word here. Okay? Physical education, music, art, and crafts. We usually say art and crafts. I wouldn't have said crafts at all, actually. Let's try it again. Secondly, including non-academic subjects like physical education, music, and art can boost children's academic performance. The possible explanation is that their exuberant imagination, again, not great vocabulary, lovely words, but together they just don't work and not in this context, is that their imagination is stimulated and their brain refreshed, promoting logical thinking. A recent Oxford University study proved this by adding the previously mentioned courses with an extra 3 hours per week. Students' average score in mathematics increased by 4.7 points, consequently supports that schools should entertain as well as teach. Okay, so let's talk about this because I feel like with a lot of IELTS students, there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. When we talk about entertainment, what do we mean? What does the word entertainment mean? Essentially, the people at IELTS are testing your vocabulary by using a word like this. So entertainment means fun. It means funny. It means enjoyable, joyful, something lighthearted. Okay? So if you've ever been involved with music or sports or art even, you can surely know that being involved in these activities is not necessarily joyful and lighthearted and funny. For many people, this is very serious business. Okay, especially if you're in a school setting where you're supposed to be learning these things and not just doing them for pleasure. Okay, so I'm telling you this because a lot of people are tempted to use these examples since they're not traditionally academic, but still it doesn't quite carry the idea of entertainment that the IELTS people are probably referring to. So entertainment would be more like games in the classroom, showing maybe comedy movies or or TV shows as part of the lesson. Things that make students laugh. Like, did I say games in the classroom? Right, games in the classroom, or even role plays, things that can be part of the curriculum that students aren't just sitting in front of a book to learn, but instead they're doing things that are lighthearted and fun. All right, so in conclusion, from the arguments and examples given, we usually add here, I firmly hold that an educational institute aims not merely to pass on knowledge and practical skills. Predictably, integrating interesting events into the curriculum can not only produce students satisfying academic achievement, but will also fertilize the well-developed backbones of our future society. Okay, that's nice. I know you're really trying to show that you have a good vocabulary here. It's nice. I like it. I don't know that I necessarily love this fertilize the backbone, but I can appreciate your effort here. Okay, why don't we take a look at the second essay about doing the enjoyable activity with a child, and to what extent do you agree? Lifelong continuing education. Now, you don't have to say both lifelong and continuing. Lifelong education would have been fine. I would have gotten rid of continuing. So lifelong education is critical at various career stages for almost everyone from all trades and professions nowadays. While some may argue that reading materials is one of the ways to keep themselves updated, I firmly believe it's more beneficial to have a quality and pleasant time with children when speaking of finer techniques, development, and imagination. This essay will review both sides and use examples from sociology research and a prominent university report to illustrate. All right, I think you've misunderstood the topic, and this happens every now and then for some students. They assume that we're talking about better skills and creativity development for the adult. But what the essay really means to say is the child develops better skills and creativity. Okay, so this is the sense I got from your introduction that you misunderstood the topic. And so, of course, that's going to change your perspective in the entire essay. Um, all of this about lifelong learning and so forth. So that's the impression I got. Let's see. Again, it says to what extent do you agree? And you say it's more beneficial to have a pleasant time with children. So, what does that mean? Doing an enjoyable activity? Make sure it's clear because some people could say that reading with children is a pleasant time. So, make sure it's absolutely clear. All right, let's see what you wrote. Firstly, communication is one of the primary abilities people can improve when getting along with children. The explanation is that most of them are eager to get adults' attention and feedback. Some toddlers even ask the same questions repeatedly. Going out on picnic together, listening to them, and responding attentively, for instance, can not only cultivate patience but also practice one's, I would have put one apostrophe S, interpersonal skill set, which is undoubtedly valuable in the workplace. A sociology questionnaire conducted by the Singapore government shows that more than 75% of domestic HR employees agree that spending time with a youngster, not the youngster, because the youngster acts like there's only one in the entire universe, is advantageous. Uh, mm, is advantageous. I don't know, not too. I would have probably rephrased this. I would have said, spending times with a youngster is advantageous. How about no? Why don't we do it differently? HR employees agree that spending times with a youngster, how about assists in dealing with colleagues and applicants? Therefore, its benefits and soft skills outweigh reading. Okay, so obviously you're talking about skills development in adults. It's not what the essay asked you to talk about. It was a misunderstanding, but the rest of it was actually really lovely. Okay, it was fine, but not on topic. Let's see. Secondly, children are generally more imaginative than adults and view things from different angles. That is a possible reason why playing make-believe, painting, or pottery with them can teach how they see the world and get innovative ideas. A recent Oxford University study, not result, proved this by interviewing thousands of parents in the UK. About 70% of sample subjects marveled at the inspiration from kids and assumed themselves more creative through the above events. On the contrary, reading may not on the contrary, in contrast. On the contrary is used differently, okay? Look it up and you'll understand why it doesn't really work here. In contrast, reading may achieve a less impressive outcome since most resources are based on current understanding instead of inventing. Consequently, it supports that those interactions help grown-ups to think outside the box. Okay, obviously not on topic, but well written. In conclusion from the arguments and examples, spending time with children I don't like this word delightful. And it's not the events that are delightful, it's doing fun things with them, okay? So spending time with children in enjoyable activities has merits on both better soft skills and creativity. Predictably, more parents will notice and apply it to their lives in the future. Okay, that's fine. So it was a nice essay, but again, I've said it already twice that it was off topic. You were talking about parent skills and creativity and not children's, which was the point of this. So good though. I mean, you're at a good point because your grammar is lovely, your vocabulary is lovely. A lot of this is really nicely done. What I need you to work on is all the other issues that I mentioned throughout both essays. So the next step is for you to correct these. And also, I want you to begin an error correction list where you write down your mistakes and the corrected version next to that. And I want you to send those to us along with your next set of essays. Okay, so send all three things together. And, let's see how you can apply all of the things that we're talking about in this set. And I'll be looking forward to it. So best of luck to you.